Well, good morning, YouTube. Losing Louie here, and you are looking at the national debt clock. It is 21.3 million and climbing with a bullet. We are going to look at some silver today. We're going to talk about the national debt. We are also going to look at places to retire. And most importantly, we are going to find out what happens if our currency resets. So come on along and let's go ahead and do that. But you know what? Looking at all these red numbers, that gives me the blues. All right, let's go. All right, to get us going here, we have a question, request for a video from Eli. He says, I would be interested in a vid on PMs and how their insurance against the coming hyperinflation and financial collapse. And most of all, how it works on a reset. The reset is what I would love to see more info on, coming from how a regular guide does this in a reset. Thanks. Okay, Eli, I'm going to hit this from a couple different perspectives. The first thing I want to do is give a recommendation for a video done by a really great YouTuber called Belang P. And for those of you that don't think there will be a reset or don't fear hyperinflation, for those that really are questioning whether it even makes sense to stack precious metals, let me refer you over to Belang P's last video. 1 second. Okay, quite a few of you have watched this video, but Belang P has been around for years, and he takes a scientific approach to proving the necessities and imperatives for stacking silver and gold. Here he's more focused on gold, but the title of this video is Gold and Hyperinflation, Lessons from Venezuela, where he flat out proves that you know, a little bit of gold stocked away in Venezuela during their currency collapse would clearly save the day. So do take a listen to that video, especially those of you that don't know Belang, and you'll see why some of us stack, and that will give you information to help you decide if you want to stack or not. Alright, so as we move on to Eli's question, but before we do, I wanted to take a quick look at what's for sale this morning, Sunday, August 19th. The price of silver is $14.86, up from the low from a couple days ago. And I just thought we'd take a quick look at the Provident Metals website. Great place to shop for silver and gold. Let's see what's new on their website. We'll do this quickly, and then we will get to the subject at hand. The Texas Commemorative. So there is their Texas Commemorative metal. All right, so that's new generic silver. That's interesting. 1 ounce silver and copper. Here we have the America the Beautiful 5 ounce Cumberland Island. Very cool. And coins with birds on them typically do well. I wonder what the mintages are going to be in the current demand scenario for U.S. Mint products, with it dropping down considerably. So that's worth taking a look at. The ATBs is definitely worth your time. Let's see. Here are gold Krugerrands, $19.99 over spot. All right, not hard to find gold at spot these days, but I would not buy 1 ounce gold at spot. I'd buy fractional gold at spot. Here are gold commemoratives. These look to be U.S. gold commemoratives, $7.99 over melt, and I believe these are a 1/4 ounce. I believe the commemoratives are a 1/4 ounce, but don't quote me on that. So those are have been for a long time a great way to buy silver near spot in a fractional form and get some beautiful images as well. I think if you wait for eBay bucks and eBay deals and so forth, I think you'll be able to score these commemoratives under spot here if you keep your powder dry and look for a good deal. They tend to be the least desirable of all the U.S. Mint gold products, especially if you get kind of a weird design or something. So I collect these actually because they are an efficient and economical way to get fractional gold, silver. Let's see, Canadian Maple Leaf, $25 over spot. Nah, you don't need to pay that much, guys. And Superman, $1.99 over spot. Okay. What else we got? Oh, and this new copper series. Do you collect copper? Here's the third release in copper of the Pony Express. And, you know, copper can be an interesting way to get your collecting fix, but not spend a bunch of money, and they often appreciate as well. Just going to take a quick look at the Pony Express line, and they are going from 99 cents up to $1.29 depending on how many you buy. I typically wait for copper to come down to 50 cents an ounce before I buy a bunch of it, but I could think of worse investments than, you know, picking up this Pony Express series. So that's cool. All right, so that's it at Provident right now. I guess I should probably pop over to Gainesville really quickly because they do have some outstanding clearances. So let's do that really quick. BILcoins.com, and I'm going to be talking about Florida in a little bit. But let's see what's up at Gainesville on their clearance section. And sold out, sold out, sold out, sold out, sold out, sold out. I don't know how you get on here when the stuff isn't sold out. I wish they had notifications. World of Your Soul Wisdom Silver Coin, colored enameled. Wow, that's weird. Let's see. Here we have, this is interesting, 2017 7-ounce silver endangered animal species spherical coin. I'm sure that would be just lovely, but look at the discount. So from $8.50 down to $3.79, and still that is $50 an ounce or something. But you can see collector coins in this super expensive price range are really a dangerous purchase these days. But I bet that would be something at $3.79. Let's take a quick look. Whoa. Yeah. I just think it probably just didn't resonate with investors, especially at that price. Here we have American Gold Eagles, $40 over spot, skip. We have the Canadian Maple Leaf again, $30 over spot. Cull Peace Dollars, $14.50. Okay, when it gets down to $11, I think that is melt. And Silver Eagles, $2.25, too much. Canadian Maple Leaves, $1.79, too much. Okay, so let's be on with our report. All right, so here we are in retirement, right? Let's go ahead and play this little video really quickly here. Let's see if I can get this to play. There we go. These guys are like, they're getting ready for retirement. They've worked, they've saved their money. This is called How Long Would $1 Million in Retirement Savings Last in Fort Lauderdale? Well, this article is about the different cities and how long $1 million would last. And you're probably like, yeah, right, I could save $1 million. But some people do, right? So that does happen, but chances are most people will save less than that. And if you're in Florida, in these various cities, you could make it to 30 years on $1 million. Daytona Beach, 30.7 years. Vero Beach, 29.9 years. Spending that $1 million, right? Living good, fishing, feeding those pelicans. Cape Coral, 29 years. If you want to live on the water, wow. Here is Gainesville. Well, they have a good silver retailer in Gainesville. 29.4 years. Watch a little football. Here you are in Sarasota, a little more expensive, 27 years. And Miami, 25 years, right? Wow, so $1 million goes a long way, right? Yeah, that's pretty good, and 30 years is probably longer than most people would spend in retirement. But what happens if there is a reset? So I want to remind you of this national debt. Matter of fact, I'll even slide this over a little bit here, if it'll let me. There it is. Let's just go right to the crux of the matter. Oh, wait a minute. It is that giant national debt, that $21.3 million. Okay, George Bush ballooned it quite a bit. Barack Obama ballooned it in a gigantic way, and now our President Trump is ballooning it further. The only difference is who's getting the booty. Either it's the poor people, the entitlements programs, the rich people, and with any luck, you know, the average guy maybe is finding it easier to get a job, but everything's become much more expensive. Housing, and also the stock market is up, so I suppose that's good for retirees. But this is a problem. All right, let's see, the current GDP trillion, student loan debt 1.5 trillion, mortgage debt 15 trillion with an inflated asset class. I'm looking for GDP, but I'm not. Oh, here it is, gross domestic product. Okay, so the gross domestic product is now 20.4 trillion. So we are at pretty much one-to-one parity. That would be like if you personally made $50,000 a year and you had $50,000 on the credit card. How would you ever pay that off? Well, we have $21 trillion on the credit card, and we make $20 million a year. Okay, this 20 is not going to go to 80. You know, it's going to go to 21, 22. Maybe you get to 3-4% growth. But we are not in a position to ever pay off the national debt. It is just not going to happen from here unless somebody takes a cleaver to government, and nobody, Democrats or Republicans, have no intention of taking a cleaver to government. So this is going to cause the problem. No matter how happy you are about the current situation, the job market, the housing market, the stock market, when you save, let's say that you save your $1 million, right? But this debt keeps growing. I mean, $1 trillion a year, $2 trillion a year. The interest alone on the national debt will balloon this up at an exponential level, and I won't bore you with the exponential charts, but this is the problem, and it is not being recognized by the political class because they gain too much by ignoring it. So I believe that there will be a reset. All right, what does that reset look like? Well, I've said before, a reset is very much like a reverse stock split, and that's actually not true, because in a reverse stock split, you know, if you have 10 shares of stock at $1, they will give you 1 share of stock at $10, and mostly that is meant to reverse a critical dive of a stock. When they get under $1 in value, they kind of become penny stocks, and that's the kiss of death. So, but a reverse stock split is really not the answer. In that case, you still have $10 worth of stock, right? Whether you have 10 shares at $1 or 1 share at $10. What I think is coming, and this is based on speculation and nothing but speculation, what I think is coming is a reverse stock split similar to a Venezuela, a Zimbabwe, etc. If you have your $1 million, if you are, let's go back over there. Where did they go? Where did they go? Hold on one second. You're this guy, man. You're on this sailboat. You got your $1 million. You're just having a gay old time. Everything looks good, right? You're in retirement. You're not earning money anymore. You just got your fixed asset. Okay, when they reset the currency, that $1 million that you have, and mind you, you're in the upper 5% probably with $1 million in retirement. You're most likely going to have $50,000 to $100,000, and that will probably last you 2.5 years instead of 25. You know, especially if you start, you know, eating at the Circle K or shopping at Walmart or, you know, whatever. But let's say you're this guy with $1 million, you're out here on the boat, and Trump decides he's going to fix everything. Well, how's he going to do it? All right, there's too much debt. Well, why, you know, and it's valued in dollars. What is the solution? Revalue the dollar. Take all the dollars that exist out there and divide them by a factor. Divide them by 2, divide them by 5, divide them by 10. FDR did something similar when he reset the gold standard. In his case, I think it was about a 30% haircut off the dollar. So let's assume that Trump does that, and let's take the worst case scenario. He takes this guy's $1 million and he calls them in, right? And he says, now you have $100,000. All right, and that could just happen overnight. There'd be no escaping it unless you have your currency in other countries, which makes a lot of sense to have a little money in Canada, maybe a little money in the UK, in a bank somewhere. And of course, you've got your precious metals. That's where this is all headed, why you want to have gold and silver. And do watch Belang's report on Zimbabwe and what you know, a little bit of gold would get you in Venezuela today. Sorry, not Zimbabwe. But this guy's got $1 million in the bank. He's on top of the world. He's sailing around in his boat, and he wakes up the next day, and Trump says, "I have some bad news for the country. We are going to reset the currency. We are going to reset it 10 to 1. Our national debt will now be $2 trillion, and we are going to introduce austerity to bring that $2 trillion down to zero in the course of 10 years. And anybody who has money will now have 1/10 as much money. That Big Mac that sells for $5 today, well, it'll cost $50 basically to buy that Big Mac. Or if you have $1 million, you'll have $100,000, and you know, everything will cost the same, except you'll have 1/10 as much, is what I really want to say. That would solve the problem. So you might say, if we did that, what would happen in the world? What would happen? Well, immediately all the countries that hold our national debt in US dollars and hold our dollars would, you know, of course be shocked, and that would save shock waves, and perhaps that would crash the world. But what do other countries have worse than we have? More debt, more spending, more fiat. What would they do the day after the US reset its currency? They'd probably reset their currency, right? Because why would they want their currency to be strong against our currency, which is now weak? They'd want to reset their currency. So I think you would see a domino effect where countries all over the world would reset their currency following the United States, and all the politicians would take a pat on the back on how they solved their growing debt crisis on the backs of the people with money. These guys here. Okay, on the sailboat. Now, if you are young, if you are without resources, if you are just getting started in life, this does not matter that much to you. But if you are older, if you have resources, if you have money in the bank, in the stock market, they are likely coming for your money. All right? That's where they're going to get it. They're going to get it from the people who have it, perhaps from the millionaires, but if you follow Trump's work, millionaires don't seem to get hit too bad in anything that he proposes. So you can count on the senior citizens and the people in retirement not retiring for 30 years, retiring for 3 years. But don't worry, there'll be plenty of social programs, because when you run out of your new $100,000, if you had $1 million before, or your new $10,000 if you had $100,000 before, there will be plenty of programs for you. Let's see, what will those look like? All right, here's your new retirement destination. Cleveland, Ohio, the tenements at Cabrini Greens. What else we got here? Just some lovely destinations. Here's a gentleman who, you know, can find, you know, maybe he can find some stuff to resell on eBay in this pile of trash outside his subsidized housing unit. The government is there for you. You see? They're there, man. These housing projects, those are really cool. If you have nothing, you can get into one of those, you know, and, you know, there'll be plenty of protein because the rats will be running wild. And that is your new retirement. All right, so is the reset coming? Do you want to be protected from it? How does a regular guy protect themselves? Well, it doesn't take a lot. right? As Belang pointed out, it just takes about 10–20% of your assets into something secure. If you want that to be gold, that's cool. If you want that to be, aged Scotch whiskey, I got no problem with that. There are tools, maybe land, although land and buildings do have their own special hell called taxation and utilities. So I don't know about that. But do protect yourself. The average guy should be throwing some money into some real asset. I'm very skeptical of real estate right now, but many people do that. If you can pay it off, okay, more power to you. If you can be independent of utilities, I like that even better. But taxation they're coming for you with taxation, so be very careful with that. But a few ounces of gold, if you're the guy with $100,000, which is what most people would probably aspire to, should you have $10,000 of gold somewhere safely secured? Absolutely. Ask the people in Venezuela, ask the people in Zimbabwe, ask the people in every failed fiat currency. 21 trillion is not sustainable. There's nowhere to get this money. And in the United States, if you take away the social programs, we'll have unrest and we'll likely have socialism or communism. All right? And it will be even worse if we go that direction. So this is why I think there is a devaluation. I think the average guy can stash away some gold and or silver. And as you're saving for your retirement and you're saving in the stock market, don't forget about your physical assets. All right, well, this has gone on long enough. I hope you enjoyed this early Sunday morning edition, which is no longer early, but nonetheless, thank you for tagging along for another Losing Louis editorial. All right, guys, have a good one, and watch that national debt, man. It's going higher. One thing's for sure, national debt's going higher. All right, bye, everybody.